It was plays like this Tracy Ham to Craig Ellis touchdown that got the Eskimos off and running for the 1990 CFL season with a big win last Saturday night at the Sky Dome in Toronto. Hello again, everybody. Al McCann greeting you from Football Huddle, where each and every Tuesday of the 1990 season we'll be keeping you posted on what's happening with our Edmonton Eskimos, and for that matter, what's happening in the Canadian Football League. We've got the head coach with us, Joe Farraghelli, to talk about last Saturday's win and the big game coming up tomorrow night against the BC Lions. We'll also have a special kind of a profile on one of the new rookie sensations with the Eskimos, and also a look at that incredible first week of play in the CFL for 1990. Stay with us, won't you? Well, the Eskimos got out of the starting gate on a winning note Saturday night with that 30-24 victory in Toronto. And Coach Farraghelli, you had to be pleased, I think, when you took a team into Toronto against a club reputed to be the best in the East, off of what you hear in the preseason, and then a team that had 8 million tricks. They had quick hurry-up offense. They had little short kick plays. They were so busy putting in their bag of tricks, I think they failed to notice that you got a little problem in your defensive backfield during the game.
Well, yeah, that's, I think that helped us really. I think that helped us. I think what Matt Dunnigan does well is throw the ball deep downtown. That's his trademark. And when they went to all the tricks and put 2 linemen out wide with a receiver behind them, and they were 5-6 yard passes. Well, I feel we can get a 5-yard pass about any time. So that didn't bother me. And it also helped us because then when we had to put Colbert in, we went to a very basic defense. All we played was a little 3-deep zone and some man cover because we had the young kid in there. But they played right into our hands. We didn't have to worry about anybody in particular or the long pass. Then we'd have been in trouble.
Mark Mathis got hurt, of course. That meant Darryl Colbert had to go in. He's a wide receiver by trade.
Right.
Why would you pick him? He's a wide receiver.
Well, there was 2 reasons. Number one, Mark Norman had a bad ankle playing in that game. And that's the first season opener he's made since he's been an Eskimo. He's always on the injured list, so that's an improvement. So I thought with the sprained ankle it wouldn't be too bad. And he played well with a gimpy ankle. But then we needed somebody back there. He couldn't play halfback because he couldn't cover anybody man-to-man. And we needed him deep because he's our quarterback on defense. He calls the sets and calls all the adjustments on the pass coverages and all that. And we had to keep it really simple. So we thought Colbert, who played a little bit of defense.
In high school or something?
In high school, yeah. It could have been with the juniors or something.
Joe, heck of an athlete, though. Kid can play.
Yeah, he's an excellent athlete. He got great moves. He got great quickness. They get good leaping ability, and he has real fluent moves.
Actually, it must have been just wild out there because with a hurry-up offense, there's no time to tell Darryl what all the defensive
Well, that's why we needed Mark Norman.
That's right.
Between Mark Norman and Enos Jackson, they kept saying, okay, get over to the left, and next time he'd have to go to the right, and so the poor kid just hung right in there and played both offense, defense, and he was my special teams guy.
I thought the defense played pretty good considering all things because they have a potent offense. Let's go back and look at some of the highlights and get your comments, Coach. The game actually started out for you on a rather shaky note with this interception right off the bat.
Yeah, there's a little miscommunication between Tracy and the Gizmo. Gizmo thought he wanted to break it off, and Trace didn't. That wasn't the message he had relayed with his motions. But then we come right back strong again. Defense gets the ball back for us, and here's Craig Ellis on his first touchdown. He just went deep and got behind the halfback.
There's that little short kick play.
There's their onside kick, with their fancy huddle breaking and all. But we were alert because we figured they're going to have all kind of gimmicks trying to beat us.
There's an easy intercept for Keith Gooch.
Yeah, excellent interception. It was a nice block by Braz to spring him loose. They got some dangerous little runners too with Morris and Clements.
Yes, they have.
They're built about the same size as Reggie Taylor. There's a blitz by Danny, and 2 guys wind up getting him.
But Matt got flushed anyway.
He got flushed, yeah, and went down. There's the fumble, the old Argo bounce. It came right back again. Larry Ruck was close by. Here's one of Reggie's many runs here, a little counter.
What a good running back he is.
There's Matthew rolling out to the right and hitting the back in the flat, and there's a... I thought the old line did excellent. You can see Tracy has plenty of time. Here's that one busted play to Ellis.
Pretty easy 6 for Craig.
Yeah, he was all alone, and he kind of gimps in the last 5 yards. He's got a sprained ankle also.
We're talking defense here. I'll tell you, there was some good hitting.
Yeah.
Look at this one.
There's a great hit right here.
Braswell.
You'll see that again.
He puts a lick
right on his chest, right between the numbers.
Now, you talk about a lucky field goal. Jack Parker did this once years ago. Bounced it off the crossbar.
Bounced it off the crossbar, hit the upright, and just fell in. Now I know why they call it the Argo bounce. But you know, the amazing thing about this game, Al, they kept going back and forth. You know, they'd make a great drive, and then we would come right back and do it again. And here's Tracy moving the ball down again. Throws hot to Tommy Richards. It was a halfback blitz.
Pretty good protection.
And there's the one, there's an individual route to Keith Wright. Tracy throws it right in the open spot, and then Keith makes the adjustment and gets underneath it. There's a sack by Stuart Hill on Matt Dunnigan, his buddy.
Good work by Stewart there. He went inside.
Yeah, he started rushing upfield, and when Matt tried to go up the middle, he just came underneath and made
Here's the gizmo, Joe, and he gets the typical, it happens a couple times a year where he gets a holding fly to call it back. Giz doesn't know it right now, though.
No, he don't. If he'd have been home, he'd have probably did the flip for, obviously he wouldn't have counted. So we had a great wall. It's set up by Leroy Blue, and then the rest of the guys just follow through. Marco.
That's a sack.
Yeah, that's a sack. And when you see the replay, he's on his knees. You take a sack away from Stu Hill, it's like taking money away from him. It really bothers him.
It really is, though. He had him down.
He's on the knees and then throws the ball. So that's definitely a sack. Another one of those backs out of the backfield. Like, you know, this is one of the cases where the young guy, you couldn't fault him. That's Colbert again, almost blocks the punt. They don't block him, and he has sense enough to continue on and come very close to blocking. Plus, you get a no yards call on top. And Trace comes right back. It's Ellis over the middle on a crossing pattern. Then here's the one he throws to Marshall. He threw it a little bit late, and he caused Marshall to stumble, so that he decided he wanted to give him one more shot, and he gave him the draw play, and he took it in for 9 yards.
Great call.
I said to him, that's a great call. He said, actually, I did it because I owed him a touchdown. It wasn't strategy. You know? There's another one of those bootlegs, and of course, great catch by Ellis again, going up high.
Craig had a field day.
Yeah, he had a great day, and he played with a bad ankle. You know, but a nice driving across, and held onto it and got hit as soon as he caught the ball.
Okay, let's talk about McAreedy because he's kind of under the gun a little bit. He looked pretty good. He kicked for over 40 on the punts, and he knocked the field goals in. What can you ask?
Just keep doing it, that's all.
40-34, the final score. Good win for the Eskimos to start things off, but it didn't come without cost, Coach. First off, you lost Mark Mathis to a busted thumb. He'll have to go on the 30-day, eh?
Yeah, he'll go on a 30-day today with, he has a pin. And to pin his thumb in his hand. At first, you thought they were going to operate, but then Dr. Boucher said he can do it with a pin, so that's 30 days on the injured list, which means now we have to activate Kevin Clark, who's a young man that was on our practice roster, so he'll be playing in a ball game.
And you had some wonky ankles also, which may mean you had some more shuffling. I hear Michel Bourgeot may have to sit out.
Well, we're going to have to put him back on, I think. I think we need Michel for this game. You know, last game we went in, we only had 4 linemen, and so McConnell, who was the offensive lineman, went in and played some defense. And so, you know, he did a good job for us. But I think we're going to need to put Michel on because I think my only linebacker is Gimpy. He's got a sore groin, and that's, you know, McLean. So we're going to have to make some adjustments.
How about Craig Ellis? He was limping, although he caught a whole flock of passes. Can he play?
Oh, yeah, he could play. His ankle is not as bad. Maybe Marco Sincar's might be a little worse than Craig Ellis. So we have a lot of little bumps and bruises. And it just so happened we have another close game. You know, we had 1 day's practice, and we went out and without pads, and we kind of walked through what we were going to do. And we only had 1 day to get ready for BC. But after this game, they'll get a couple of days off, and I think we'll be healthy again.
Yeah, you go off to Ottawa after this game,
right.
and this is tough when you only have the little 3-day jaunt between games. It's going to happen a couple of times in the early part of the season.
Yeah, well, see, for us, it's the bad part is right now because we came back Sunday, showed the film, and we did some running, practiced Monday in the rain, and today is the day before the game. Tuesdays, we won't practice. We just go in through special teams and substitutions and a little bit of meetings. So we only get 1 day to prepare.
Who'll be the backup quarterback tomorrow night?
I think we'll still go with Warren Jones. I think we'll let Warren just back up this game and then put Steve in maybe later on in the schedule.
We talked a lot about Darryl Colbert watching the highlight clip and what his contribution to that game in Toronto. You've got another young guy by the name of Gartner on the team that's caused a lot of stir. Lisa Miller has a little profile on the new young fella, Jason Gartner, coming up right after this.
The Eskimos entered training camp knee-deep in experience at slotback, yet when the dust settled, 4 remained. 3 veterans and a rookie in Jordan Gartner.
He's been quite a surprise. You know, like I said, there's lots of guys come in that have good speed and good hands, and they're tough. But to be able to pick up an offense as quickly as he has, to be able to read defense as quickly as he's learned to do it, and to catch the ball in the game situation, you know, to show the poise and composure and self-confidence to go out and do it in a game. That's the big thing that he showed.
Jordan, how surprised are you to still be here?
Well, in all honesty, I'd have to say I'm not very surprised, even though that's probably shocking to a lot of other people, considering the great core of receivers that they have here and the type of records that they've had over the last few years. But I'd put a lot of prayer into what God wanted me to be doing before I ever came down, and I just had a confidence growing out of my heart that this was part of his plan for me and he was going to work things out. So that's the expectation I had coming into camp.
23-year-old Jordan hails from Caron-Port, Saskatchewan, a hamlet 15 miles west of Moose Jaw. The Briarcrest Bible School is what puts it on the map. It's also where Jordan's father taught school and where Jordan was schooled from grade 1 to college. Switching to the University of Saskatchewan, he became the Esk's 5th-round draft choice in 1990.
Asked tons of questions. I mean, just non-stop questions, and sometimes too many questions where I said, Jordan, don't worry about it. Just go out and run and play. But he's a good kid, no problem at all.
The wide receiver turned slotback caught 6 passes in the exhibition season for 130 yards. When did you get the sense as camp went on that you had made it, or did you ever get the sense for sure?
Well, you know, there's nothing like when you finally hear it to be sure, but things went well for me right from the start. I was catching the ball very well. I didn't make a lot of mental mistakes, so that was to my advantage. Probably after the exhibition game went so well, and I started hearing, you know, a little behind-the-scenes remarks that kind of give you the impression that you're going to be sticking around.
We didn't want to take a chance on losing a guy who down the road could be, you know, a legitimate starting slot back in the league.
Out in the field, practice field, in the dressing room, were you all in awe of the situation and some of the guys around you?
Probably more so before I came than now that I'm here, you know. For me, this was something I thought about for a long time and, in a sense, lived out before I ever got here. So it was probably a bigger deal before I got here than it is now.
With Tom Richards, Craig Ellis, and Marco Sincar lined up ahead of Jordan, it may be a while before he shows his stuff on a regular basis.
Jordan's going to be a guy we can work along slowly. Hopefully we'll find a spot here and a spot there. We can get him in a game and just bring him along slow. There's no real hurry right now.
Well, remember that number, 31, Jordan Gartner, one of about, what is it, Coach, 4 or 5 rookies you've got this year. You've got the kicker,
Yeah,
and you've got Colbert, and you've got
we got the
you got Clark going tonight.
Kevin Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a lot of rookies though. That's about the healthy way to have a 4 or 5.
Right, you know, and 4 or 5 just so we don't get old all at the same time, and you know, just keep the youth movement going, but always have some people with experience. I think you can't beat experience.
Coach, you know, you and I have been around the Canadian Football League for a long time. I've never seen an opening week like last week. We had 4 games. They all had a pile of points. We had 2 overtime games, and every game was close and exciting. I'll tell you, that's the CFL. Joe Cap was right. He said anybody who argues the NFL is more exciting didn't see those games.
Well, I think maybe they read about them or something, but they don't see the games. It even dawned on me during the game. I looked up at the clock and said, "Oh my God, not another tie."
Here we go. Yeah. You know, I read somewhere where somebody suggested that you coaches, had an edict from up above to discount defense and go for offense. I had to laugh because I'll tell you, don't tell Don Southern and our defensive coaches, Urban Bowman and the boys, that defense isn't important.
No. In the long run, it's going to be the defense that's going to carry you through the tough times and the long times. So it's very unusual because normally this time of the year, the defenses are, just much tougher than offense because there's so much timing involved. And yet, 35, 33 points is nothing. I mean, everybody's going above that number in opening game.
You know, everybody has, we've stayed probably more the same than the rest of the teams. I think everybody else in the league has kind of hyped their offense more this year with new people and new moves.
Well, I think you have to continue doing it. I think Jordan Gardner is a good example. I think he's barring injuries, he's going to be a hell of a football player. I mean, he's going to be an excellent football player. They call him the RoboCop because he never does anything wrong. And it's amazing. We got these young guys coming in. Great training. I don't know, maybe they get it at the universities or what, but somebody's been training them extremely well because they just seem to get better and better every year, which makes the caliber of our game much higher.
Well, we haven't talked yet about tomorrow night and your opponent, the British Columbia Lions. We'll get a chance to do that, but when we come back, we're going to have a little feature that Brian Rolheiser's put together on that first week that we were alluding to a moment ago, the wild and woolly opening week of 1990 in the CFL. That's coming up right after this.
You couldn't have written a better script for the opening week of the 1990 CFL season. 2 of the 4 games went into overtime. The other 2 were decided late in the 4th quarter. A total of 270 points were scored in the opening 4 games, for an average of just over 67 points per game. Let's start with a look back at the Winnipeg-Ottawa matchup. In the 4th quarter, former Saskatchewan Rough Rider quarterback Tom Burgess connects with Perry Tuttle to give the Blue Bombers a 21-17 lead. Ottawa trails 24-17 with 9 seconds left in regulation time. But Damon Allen changes that with a 30-yard touchdown pass to Ken Evrer. In overtime, Burgess tosses to Big Warren Hudson, and he does the rest. The Blue Bombers beat the Eastern Riders 31-26. Ottawa looks like a much improved team compared to last season, but
the bottom line is to win the football game, regardless of how much character you show or how good you played or how bad you played. We didn't win the football game, and that's 0 points for us.
The other game last Thursday evening featured the 2 teams that fought for the 1989 Grey Cup. The defending champion Saskatchewan Roughriders against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. These 2 teams thrilled all CFL fans last November and had the fans at Taylor Field in Regina pretty excited on this evening. It looked like Hamilton would gain a small amount of revenge. They lead 35-31 late in the 4th quarter when Mike Kerrigan is intercepted deep in Saskatchewan Rough Rider territory by Larry Hogue. The Riders will march the ball downfield, and with less than a minute remaining in regulation time, Milson Jones scores on this draw play, and Saskatchewan beats Hamilton 38-35.
They opened up a nice hole at the line, just kind of took it from there, and we win again.
On Friday night, Larry Kuharek, who was the head coach in Calgary for the past 3 seasons, directed his new team against the Stampeders. The BC Lions played host to the Stamps. Wally Bono, who was the defensive coordinator under Kuharek in Calgary, is the Stampeders' new head coach. This game also featured former NFL star Mark Gastineau. Number 99 picked up his first quarterback sack in the opening half and celebrated with a dance. But the defensive end lasted just 30 minutes. Gastineau was one of 4 players ejected from the game because of this fight at the end of the opening half. Former Heisman Trophy winner Doug Flutie also made his regular season debut, and he looked sharp. With seconds left in regulation time, Flutie throws this touchdown pass to Ray Alexander. The game is tied at 35, and after 10 minutes of overtime, the game ended in a 38-38 draw. For Football Huddle, I'm Brian Rolheiser.
Well, thank you, Brian. There's a look at the Western standings after week number 1. Saskatchewan and Edmonton sharing top spot. As for the Eastern Division, of course, it's more cut and dry there. Winnipeg, the only team with a victory after 1 week of play. Looking at this week's schedule, of course, the Eskimos open things up against the BC Lions over at Commonwealth tomorrow evening. Our radio broadcast on CFRN with the pregame show starts at 7 o'clock. Then we'll have action coming up on Thursday in 2 locations, Ottawa playing over in Hamilton and Calgary at home to Saskatchewan, and the week number 2 winds up Friday with Toronto playing at Winnipeg. On that highlight clip we just saw, we saw Milson Jones make a great run to set up that Saskatchewan victory. And Joe, I couldn't help but think of the time he made the great run for you in the '87 Grey Cup game. He was for sure, like that, had no place to go, somehow got a first down for us that set up that correct field goal that won the Grey Cup.
He caught a screen pass, and it looked like he was trapped.
Nowhere.
And he just took his big thighs and just drove it right through the defenders. Got us in field goal range, which eventually Curry kicked and we won.
Well, we talked about that wild and woolly first week. Let's talk about week number 2. Your first comment, your first problem right now is, of course, the British Columbia Lions. What do you anticipate? You've seen them play once now on film. Do you think they'll go with Doug Flutie, or will they come back with Foggy or even Pow Pow?
Now, I know Coach Kaharick, and he never shows his hand, and it could be anybody. I mean, he can come back with Joe Pow Pow and keep maybe Flutie in reserve, but down deep inside, I think it's going to be a combination of Flutie and Foggy. It's going to be great to see him. I think people get a treat watch Flutie run around. He's so quick and he can accelerate, and it's amazing for his size, because if you ever met him in person, you'd think he was the ball boy.
Yeah, I sat next to him during the preseason game, and he is really not very big. You'd never guess he's a quarterback, but he's going to enjoy our grass field, I think, when he sees it. Hopefully it won't be raining.
Well, I think he'll enjoy it, because when he gets tackled, it'll have a little give to it, and it won't be that hard surface.
Another high-scoring game, Coach, would you anticipate? Is this going to be kind of the trend in the Canadian Football League?
I really, personally, I wish it's not for them, because I hope our defense shuts them out, but you never know with with the quarterbacks that we have in the league now. All the teams have good quarterbacks. They're so mobile, and they can beat you in so many ways. And Alexander and Willis and Tolbert, E.T., they're all great receivers.
Well, it should be one heck of a game, Coach. I'm looking forward to it. We'll be, of course, talking to you next Tuesday and showing the highlights of the game and looking ahead to the next game, which is on the road playing over in Ottawa. Okay, that's all the time we have now. We've got the signs, so we'll see you in a week's time on Football Huddle. Don't forget, 7:30 Commonwealth, BC's in town.
The furniture for Football Huddle is kindly supplied by WB Environment Group Limited.
Join host Robert Stack tomorrow night at 9 for Unsolved Mysteries here on 2-3 TV's CFRN.